Anything you want from me, anything you need, anything you so desire. Hello, everybody.
Welcome
to episode number 23. I didn't title it, so we'll just talk about what's going on.
What's ongoing?
What's ongoing? A lot of crazy shit, like usual, right?
The world
always gotta have the chaos.
I
always gotta have the unnatural chaos. It's unfortunate.
Too many things happening, trying to make things happen that, would and could and are able to happen a whole lot more naturally than they are.
Yeah. So we sit here and ponder, okay, what's going to happen next? No, I just see so much craziness happening, and it's
sad to see.
It's all got a
script,
which bothers me. Like, I see, no matter even the worst things that are happening, it's all got a script that they want us to follow. That
right.
Whoever wants us to follow. I mean, I can name names. We can talk about the people that are in control of the money, the people that are in control of war. Same people.
All right.
It all goes up to like a boardroom, probably.
Yeah.
And chairman of the board that makes the ultimate decision. But yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's very central and very.
When stopped.
I mean, we live our lives.
Yes.
We live our lives in spite of all their shit.
That's right.
Laws being made or rules being impeded on us. And what really bothers me is the people that don't even care.
Right.
Or they don't appear to care. Like they don't show that care. They just go along.
They go along to get along.
That's on them. That's them. I'm not holding anything against you for that. It's weird.
It's slightly disheartening sometimes.
Like, why you're not even going to fight for your life? It's like somebody getting beat up or something, just sitting there and taking it, not even fighting.
Like you're not even going to try to defend yourself at all, or protect yourself. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're the easiest ones to be fooled into things and scared into things because they're protecting their jobs. But what happens if your job becomes a choice between a good job or your life?
Right. I will give you $1 million. However,
I smoke cigarettes, so I know certain things about cigarettes and I drink that aren't healthy for you.
Right.
But I wouldn't even take certain things that are forced on me.
Right. Well,
I choose what I want to put in my body, whatever it is.
Right. Good.
And I didn't choose the juice. That's for sure.
Right. Did not eat the cookie. Not even one.
Nope. I did not drink the Kool-Aid.
But
I hope that people learn. I think there are. I think there's a lot more people learning because of
and it's
as
sad.
Much evil is coming down, and that's what it is. It's coming down. We're pulling it back down to where it should be. It's really forcing people or bringing light to backyard gardens or being more self-sustaining, protecting yourself, prepping, getting food that you can. If the power goes out for a month or two. You can survive and your family can survive. These are things that we should think about. And trust me, when I was younger, I was like, damn, these preppers. Like I always realized they got some things right. They're just too afraid to live in the matrix.
Right.
But they weren't. They were prepared. They saw the writing on the wall.
And some did get a little neurotic with it and got
some are going to get that way. But like buying land or, preparing for some kind of bug out. I mean, because things can happen. We've all seen what can happen.
Yep.
And that was just a dry run.
And we have to remember whenever
because 2023 and census episode 23, 2023 is going to get very strange.
It is, but it's going to be a great year.
Y'all,
the potential this year really is fucking phenomenal. For reals. And I think just being aware and seeing what's happening and bring yourself to that space where you're ready to deal with some nature, like really understand nature, how it works, and then go back in your mind and rewrite all the things that people scribbled on top of when we first learned what nature was. When we first got here, we understood so much better, right? It's that internal connection they've been trying to separate us from for so long.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe the Mandela effect. Like, we all know that Ed McMahon was on those mailers that come into your house giving, for the sweepstakes.
Right.
But
he was the man.
I don't feel like it's a timeline change. It's a timeline change, but an unnatural one. It's a fake one.
Right.
It's more people changing things
in order
that have control, like the internet. Think about
marketing.
The internet seems huge and vast, and it is. You can, I mean, a guy like me used to be able to get on there. It was more vast, and I could get, 60 to 100 viewers.
Yeah. Yeah. When it was first organic,
yeah,
when you first got here and it was just beginning.
And, I can take accountability for some of it, but
oh, yeah,
when you realize that they've throttled your reach,
see,
and that's proof. There's proof of that.
Yes, here's the thing. I thought
because of small business,
yes.
they're kind of, if you're not willing, it's kind of like a mafia. If you're not willing to pay up,
yes,
we're not going to protect you anymore.
See, and I learned this a long time ago, back when I was just doing the band work, that I don't get to just organically do what I do because this is a free space where I can just join as many groups as I want and say my spiel and be okay.
Right.
And it's not that groups were saying they were upset with me or anything, but no, I started to recognize algorithmically.
You got it. Algorithmically.
Yes. I was being kind of blocked or shadowed, right? Like I did not understand why at first I got so much, and now I could say people have just started to lose interest. I could say that. And I tried to convince myself of that a little bit, but let's be real. Great band. I'm selling good stuff. I'm not forcing anything down anyone's throat. I'm not demanding anything. I'm not asking for money. I'm not.
They want to be
what
a
rules am I being
broke? Which they kind
of
in a sense are. Like they're allowed.
Yes.
This is like a public space. I mean, I know it's a private company, but it's a public space.
But then when PayPal took my money and said I couldn't use them anymore,
it's probably, if you go look at Facebook, I'll bet you that they're, and YouTube, like a lot of them, look at who owns major shares. These are government or intelligence companies or communities. They're it's all like we're all in this like Truman Show, which I know. Trust me, I love my life. I love my life, but I'm going to talk about like not the darkness, darkness as in divine feminine. That's darkness. That's a different kind of darkness. Talking about just psychopathic, evil people that have control to mess with
to a point
a lot of people's lives at once.
Yes, but and that's just it. That's where we get back to the backyard gardens and the being self-sustainable. The less we have to depend on these,
the less bullshit we have to put up with.
Corporations and big businesses and like the programming they have set in place for us, the better off we are. And there are so many ways to be able to do that and still maintain certain.
And these are companies. We're talking about companies that are a major,
that own all of them,
worldwide,
that own all the other companies,
global. Right, these companies that get actually get paid by the government to keep going. Yeah, it's pretty weird. And if you look into it, you'll see. I mean, this is breaking the spell. That's what we're here for. So, if for anybody that didn't know that, you've just been enlightened, and you can go research it, go check it out, dig, go look for it.
And like, okay, so do you guys remember back when microwaves first became a thing in like what was it, the 70s, 80s? 80s.
Oh, where are you going with microwaves? Where are we at? Or is this?
I'm basically getting people to understand. Do you remember how demonized those people that were upset about microwaves, especially those first initial microwaves that came out that were making people sick, right? And then we buried them off, and we said they were misinformation. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about.
Or the anti-juicers. How about those? The anti-juicers. There's a perfect example.
I was taking it way back, so we didn't get so much. That's why I was trying to take it back to microwaves.
Yeah, the anti-juicers, the ones that would just, you're a terrible person. And you know what? Most people didn't tell me that. Like, I know it was like a bot or some fake sock puppet account. Sock puppet just means like a fake account. A lot of it, there's a lot of, I guess, let's make it simple, spies on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
Right.
A lot of spies or analysts.
Well, see, and that's just it. It's
for those companies. And that's, that Twitter files kind of exposed that, but we already knew that.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's why I was like using my personal story. I was basically what one would call a troll or a marketer, right? But I was utilizing my platforms to do that for free.
Yeah.
Enjoying the fact that I could reach many, many people and I didn't have to put too much money into it because it's a small business. I'm not making enough money to really put a whole lot of money back into just advertising, right?
Yeah.
If I can get word of mouth out that fast, why wouldn't I? But I marked a troll. However, if you notice, those that pay Facebook, they end up in your feed.
And even if you pay, trust me, if you pay them,
right?
We'll not use it.
Well, certain small businesses still, no matter how much you pay, you're still not getting what you should be
unless
getting,
unless you're paying a big amount of money. Pretty much, it's like the monopolies that are always smashing. I mean, how many businesses closed down during the last 3 years?
Right.
Just think about that. Have you driven by a lot of buildings that there's no longer a store there? A lot of them are small businesses. Mm-hmm. Big businesses are fine because, like I said, they get help from taxes.
Yeah, we pay.
They get tax breaks, or they. Yeah, so we've got to recognize that. Like, it doesn't mean that we stop living our lives and doing what we do,
right,
and enjoying our lives. But it's important that we recognize it, because when you don't recognize it, you're like letting that monster in your closet just eat and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
we've ignored it or become ignorant to the way things work and the structures of things, and really paying attention to how they work and the inner workings of them, which is what we should be doing all the time.
Right.
The police auditors, I think those guys are awesome.
I think they are too.
I mean, some of them may cross the line, but they're trying to show you that this is, hey.
Well, because our police are not taught the Constitution in which they are fucking defending.
They're taught, but they forget it. Just like,
because all this other programming.
Yeah. And we don't even have civics class. And I think Richard Dreyfuss, the actor, he's like, go on his TikTok. He's showing you a lot. Like, his is pretty like dramatic.
Right.
But he's Richard Dreyfuss. That's what he is.
But at the same time, in school, our nation is built upon this thing, right? Mm-hmm. We all take an oath to it. But where are we taught that in school?
Yeah.
Where we walked through the constitutional rights, where we walked through what our laws are, where we walked through how to be like a good human being, how we walked through entrepreneurship, how are we walked through being a good person? We're not.
Or becoming an inventor, or like really actually getting in there and doing things other than the structure that you're taught, which is the basics, like layman, completely layman basics, not even general. It's lower than that.
Right. Basic education is just that.
Excuse me.
And so is a lot of your upper education these days anymore. I swear. I mean, you get a better education if you go to college. Don't get me wrong. You more things are available to you.
Yes, you learn more. You learn more about certain things or everything. You just learn at a little deeper level. However,
I noticed
if you have professors that are in there teaching their own agenda and their own propaganda through whatever they're teaching, that can throw people off, especially at that age. That's like when they're really ready to learn. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's closest to one of the best times to learn or soak it up, other than when you're a child, when you're 1, 2, 3 years old. You're more willing to, you're a sponge then.
Yep.
But when you get into college or university,
that's when you're like ready, right? When you're like maturely, like you're eager to learn.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
Which like there's engineers that have to go to college.
What I'm saying though is that sometimes anymore, I feel like
we need these people.
Education has become such a joke that it's like, if you want to finally get invited to the party, you go to college. You know what I mean? It's like this introverted, corrupted, warped ideology where you either have those that really truly want to learn going into college, or those looking to just escape.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, both will succeed.
Or just go to college for the rest, be a career college person. I get that, like getting your master's or getting, that's awesome.
If you have that kind of discipline and that kind of...
You're learning things, but you're not really learning the applications.
But what I noticed, I had noticed though, and I didn't go to a lot of colleges, trust me, so I can't like go above a certain point. But in entering the college I did, not having finished high school, I noticed though that every time I tried to re-enter school, I was presented with same basic testing. And then when I made it into that, passing that testing, I was given the same basic classes. It was like this repetition thing, constantly repeating. And maybe it's just because I'm slightly dumb. I don't know. But I felt like,
no,
why am I
just helps you learn it better.
And I get that. I understand that. But why for so many years in a row am I repeating the same things in different grades, in different areas, right? It's almost like you repeat every time you go back. So even though I'm supposedly upgraded some, I'm like repeating these classes. And I get that. I do understand that repetition is the way you
Christy
do
says,
things.
sadly, the material's all bullshit.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like they try to feed you just certain amounts of things over and over again.
They're paid a lot of money a year. And again, colleges, universities, they have a status to where they get paid from the government.
Yes, they do too. Yeah.
I know because I work for a college. I work for Weaver State University in Ogden, Utah. And, you know, people talk, and we were right below the bigwigs. We were like we were the lawn crew. Yeah. We were the facilities and maintenance. So we just drove around and mowed lawns and weeded and, whatever, fixed sprinklers.
But isn't it amazing what you can observe and learn just by doing that?
Yeah, you learn a lot about the systems and the maintaining the systems that you have that are part of that. Yes, I learned a lot there. Just even as a landscaper or systems maintenance guy. Or it wasn't systems maintenance, it was I can't remember the exact term. But yeah, you find out a lot of these people just sit up in their office and just come up with shit because they feel like they've got to do something at their job. And some of it's really ridiculous. Like, what? Like, do you have an engineer on this or a designer or anything? You just want to do it. You don't, you're not really thinking about, because, this stuff's bigger. It's not like a yard.
Right.
It's a whole campus. And you want to do certain things.
So it's basically a neighborhood.
You got to understand, you got to work with the system that's already there or create a new one. But a lot of people didn't. And the last year I was there, it was like only a seasonal job, but I was asked to create or help create and draw out a new part of the campus, which was for high school kids, which was like kids that had college courses. That's where they'd go and design it. I designed it. And what's funny is like a year later, I run into my boss that I was working with that we both designed it. I drew it up because he didn't know what he was doing out there. And
oh man, he loved the
rewards. He ended up getting rewards and he got an award for all this shit. Yeah, he got like these steak dinners.
Yeah.
And I used to smoke weed with him, so I'd go over to his house every once in a while, have a drink and smoke some,
And that man has a serious drink.
Oh, yeah. Big tumblers, like the tall tumblers, and he'd fill up like half of it with whiskey and then the rest of it with cherry coke. Yeah, it was pretty rough. Anyway. Yeah, he'd like tell me, he's like, man, they gave me awards after you left. Like, well. And I'm not saying it was all on me. He had a vision too.
Yep. But you worked well together.
And I didn't expect a reward.
Right.
It was just fun to do. It was manifesting, and it happened.
Yes. Yep.
I actually had the college back me up for what my ideas and what I saw.
Right.
And then I talked to him because he knew a lot more about what grows well,
right,
what doesn't. That area that it's in is a flat area. It's we've got to put some grass in there so the dust, because you put grass in to keep the dust down.
Yep.
And keep some of the rain soaked up.
Yep.
Or the water. But anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with that. But my point is, what is my point?
I was talking about how the educational system seems awfully before you get anywhere, but you can learn something simply by being in that environment.
Yes, and that university is a place to learn higher knowledge. It is.
Yes, it is. Yes.
However, it's become very, like a lot of these schools, especially the Ivy League ones, have become very, very activist-y. And that's cool to be an activist, but a lot of these people are not thinking straight. They're taking the juice.
I'd like to think that I would have been. I'd like to think that I could have been an activist for a lot of things. However, A, I wasn't, so that's true. But B, you've got to understand that when you're joining, if you're not like starting your own little thing, if you're not simply being an activist for your own heart, your own thing, you don't care who else believes you or who else don't. You're just actively working for the same because you believe in it, right? But if you're going to join a system because their belief aligns up with your belief, you still have to understand, wait, what are they truly fighting for? Because it sounds good. It might be hurting on your heartstring. You might think you're doing something great, but when you get down to the nitty gritty of it and you realize who you're actually like working with or collaborating with, you might, find that you were wrong. All this time you thought you were fighting for this thing, and they were actually going somewhere else with this thing. Somewhere you didn't see when your heart was going, but they should have that. They should be able to.
That should never happen. But it does. And
so really truly understanding, like, when there is a group or a commercial, a marketing scheme, anything, whatever it is that pulls at your heartstring, you really need to try to figure out, why is that?
Yep.
I mean, be compassionate. Don't go saying, oh, I'm against it because they got to my heart too fast, I'm just not even gonna. No, like, that's when you do your research.
Oh God, I don't even want to look at that.
Right?
Like, I know it's easier to do that in the first part of that, but then later, because you've turned a blind eye and haven't spoke up about it, because trust me, you just talking to a friend spreads.
Yes.
Like, talking online spreads even further.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes
they
don't want it to spread
unless they don't like you.
But it looks like we have 10 people in here right now. That's awesome.
Yes, it is awesome. Thank you all. Welcome everybody. Love you,
welcome.
love you, love you.
This is a Value for Value show, so send us some super chats or donations. Check the link in the description, my link tree. If you'd like to leave or become a producer of the show,
if you have any ideas,
a little donation,
clips you'd like us to see, anything.
It's value for value, whatever value you hold. Yeah, we appreciate it. But it's not, it doesn't cost to be here.
No, it does not.
Other than your time.
Right. And you don't have to.
We've got a guest.
Nice.
Teresa. She went to college, so she was talking.
Yes. Oh, okay.
What's going on, Teresa?
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing well.
Great. I just thought I'd pop in and talk about college. Is that what we're talking about tonight?
Yeah, well, kind of. We're talking about like this.
We're talking about like being in love or idolizing the system to a place where you are just totally dependent upon it.
Oh yeah. Well, my son, smart kid, put himself through engineering school.
See, that's
he's just like a robot.
Right.
I mean, there is nothing in he can't think outside.
Right.
Spiritually, or doesn't want to, and he didn't used to be that way. Right. So that kind of was, sad that he lost that part of himself.
It takes away from your. That's what I'm. That's sad. If that actually he went to
really
do that,
is.
And he didn't learn to become open-minded or critical thinking, because an engineer needs to be a critical thinker. They're not going to learn everything in school. They're going to have to critically think. Okay. What other things can happen here if I design it this way, or if I engineer it this way?
I know he probably, could do that, but there's no.
What kind of an engineer is he? What does he engineer?
Let's see. He is, I believe, mechanical.
Okay, mechanical engineer. So he deals with a lot of big machines and systems.
Yeah, designing systems, just figuring out things for the space shuttle on one job he had.
They've almost taught people how to think in such a way that it does kind of strip away that spirit. Like, you don't think totally, like you can't. I feel like they've gotten to a point in education. They simply teach you that area in which you need to think like. Right? Yes, you might have to think on the fly, but think this way. And you'll think it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's just like you gotta taste it, smell it, touch it.
Yeah. Right.
And sometimes they'll trust if they see it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is it.
Well, I know, just working at and I'm sure your son knows this to a certain level. And if you maybe put it to him this way, if you ever got into that conversation, well, you run into jobs where you're designing things and you have to design around something totally new or a totally different aspect that you weren't prepared for. So you have to act on the fly, and you have to do Well, in construction and cabinet installation and finish work, it was called FM, fucking magic. You have to perform some fucking magic to make it work.
Yeah.
Right? Like going into a
Right.
remodel, like just as, I mean, trust me, I went into plenty of new homes, new builds that were
Oh
very
yeah.
out of level, but going into remodels, the house is settled. Everything's settled. So you're dealing with weird things. Or you're
Yeah.
dealing with somebody that built that house and whoever put in the sheetrock, like, or framing was like terrible. They got all kinds of jogs in here for no reason. You know, we used to have designers come in, like interior designers, and we do the same way. We'd watch them. We're like, how the hell are you going to do that? Like, that's a grand vision, but you know how much money that's going to cost?
Yeah, really.
Of course, people that have, you know, interior designers usually have the money to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about thinking outside the box. And it is a
tons of money.
spiritual thing, but it's just more like listening to yourself. You know, that's really,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the spirit, right? Listening to your own spirit.
Yeah. And that's why I said that's
even if we didn't get religious about it, just the spirit. It's like the spirit of, what do they call it in high school? We got spirit. How about you? You know, that kind of spirit, school spirit,
Right.
or whatever. But just spirit of like having that, like living
knowing that your drive,
passion. Hold on a second. Living that, passionately. Not just doing it because it's a job and because people think your status is good.
And like
you know, you'll have good status from it.
Like I was trying to say before, even like with the activism and stuff, like knowing that you're really standing up for like what you truly believe in, right? Not necessarily joining a crowd that may be doing something because you think they're doing it like you are, but they're, you know, because when you do that, maybe they're twisting it off.
What kind of designer are you?
You know,
Zila? An interior designer?
Oh.
And don't get me wrong, some of them are very good. Like whatever profession, there's really good ones that are really just apt to it. They're smart. I'm sure your son's one of them. But it's the process. They've got to learn. They've got to grow.
Intelligent. Yeah.
But don't let your intellect get in the way of your spirit.
And that's what's happened. It was so sad because he actually looked down on me like I was a crazy old lady, and that just it was so hard to have your son look at you like that, you know, because I'm a strong empath.
Yeah.
So I could feel it really heavy.
Yeah.
And I would usually hug him and cry when he had to leave again, you know. But that time it was like, boy, I don't even know him anymore.
Yeah, you do.
He doesn't know me, you know.
He's putting on a persona because it's a status thing. You know, it's look, I'm an engineer now. I've got status. I'm kind of better than, not really better than everybody, but
that's what kind of felt like though.
They're trained to be like that big time, like big time. You know, if you're not at my level, you're not higher than me, then I'm really not gonna, you know, level status wise, that doesn't mean shit. That's, you know, I don't care if you're a doctor, you're a surgeon, you're a pilot. I don't give a shit. Like if you're a shitty person, you're still a shitty person.
Right.
You can be really good at something and be an asshole.
Yep.
And that happens a lot.
That happened when I was in the hospital last time.
Unfortunately, it does happen.
Awful.
So what do you think the most valuable thing you learned about college was? Or going to college?
Well, I went to a trade school, so I did do 4-year college.
Okay.
I learned a trade. So I learned what I sort of needed to do, kind of.
Right.
But it was nothing like being on the job.
That's
it was a book.
Yep.
And yeah, they're totally different.
Yeah, I remember somebody coming in when I was installing cabinets. We were doing countertops too. So for laminate countertops, you need this stuff. It's like a really strong rubber cement.
Oh, I remember this. Kind of green, gray.
Yeah, some of it's yellow, some of it's green.
Yeah.
Just depends. But we had a meeting from the people that we bought or were going to buy, I guess, but it must have been cheaper. It was a water-based instead of a chemical-based. And they came in and they're like showing us how it, you know, this is how it doesn't dry. Because the worst thing you can have is something like that glue that doesn't dry, because you basically put it on one side and then you put it on the other, and then you let it dry out a little bit and get rid of all the vapors. Then it dries, it's still rubbery. Then you stick it together.
Right.
I've never used a water base that worked that same way. And that's what they were trying to sell was water based. And they came in, they're like, yeah, we've studied this. We went to college and learned about this stuff. And my dad was just like laughing. Like, it's like, these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about. He's like, that's all fine and good.
Done it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's all fine and good. The way, it's the idea of it. That's cool. But in actual application of it, it doesn't fucking work.
Well, and you have more fun with the chemical stuff too.
Well, it just works better.
Right. Well, sometimes,
and I hope somebody that I hope good inventors or people that create new things can create a water base or a lot of water based stuff when it comes to that type of stuff.
Or at least a little more natural.
That works better.
Really though.
And there are some that work better, but when it comes to that specific thing, the best thing is the alcohol based.
Yep.
That's why I always like the fumes, so that would not have been.
Of course, you like the fumes.
I just like the smell.
Yeah, I know you like the smell.
I would like to stay in there and giggle a while. That's all funny.
Yeah, I used to paint. I painted for like a year, and it was it was a winter. I'm sure that's kind of like you guys have this year. It was like, I don't know. This is probably 20 years ago. Maybe even further.
You're doing indoors or outdoors?
We were doing indoor painting, but the guy that I worked for, he had me shoveling off. We did outdoor and indoor on houses, big houses. These little big mansions or mini mansions. Yeah. Anyway, we're doing these little houses, like just on the same neighborhood. It was just a bunch of track houses, right? And this dude comes in, he's like, dude, we were lacquering. So when you lacquer, you're spraying all the frames. Right, the wood frame, so you can put paint on them, and it's just like a white lacquer, but you lacquer all the wood. Anyway, this dude comes in from up the street. He was like one of the other crews, and he's like, "Oh, you guys didn't wait for me to do lacquer, man. I wanted to do lacquer." I'm like coughing and like, oh, this stuff is gross. Because after a while, it just gets overbearing.
I'm sure it makes you
and you do get that chemical high from it, so you want to try to stay out of it. This dude wanted more of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it'll fry your brain too.
It will.
Yeah,
it will.
It will.
But you do grow brain cells back. Well, new ones.
As long as you're healthy, you know what you're working with. You understand
your body's always constantly trying to make you better.
Right? You will heal yourself. Now, if you're in an environment and you don't fully understand how it's attacking you and you allow it to go too far, you might find yourself in some problems.
Yeah.
But yes, our bodies do regenerate. We do heal ourselves. It's about that level of healing that we understand. It's about, working with the environment in which we're in, and then knowing when we got to remove ourselves from certain environments, or when we got to, just like talk to people. It's truly understanding ourselves at that level where we know what we need.
Yeah.
Right. And there's now the regeneration of nerves, especially in the brain.
Yep.
There's so many medicinal plants that they're discovering.
Mushrooms.
Oh, there's been some
not mushrooms, not even the psychedelic ones, just certain types of fungi.
It doesn't have to, I mean, the psychedelics have a healing benefit as well.
Right.
But you can't take those every day.
I mean, you're
microdosing,
Yeah.
I'd be full dosing every day, dude. I'd be like, let's do it. I just want to live. I want to live with rose-colored sunglasses because that's really where we're headed. Like, a lot of people don't understand going through all this dark shit, the evil shit. We're getting to a place because we are moving along. That's why all this evil shit's happening. Because there is an awakening happening. Think about it. Like I was just talking to Norma about this. Back in the 60s, that was when things really kicked off. They eventually figured out how to co-opt it and turn it to, the Grateful Dead was traveling around giving people acid every day, and that was an experiment. Like everywhere they went, they were given like all this acid to give out to people.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I like the Grateful Dead, but I think there was more to it than that.
You think they were like
they were
doing it for a
CIA. They worked with the CIA.
Okay, yeah.
They were like right around the time that the MK Ultra, but that's what they were doing is they were trying to narrate the counterculture movement. Every time there's a counterculture, it's grassroots that comes up, which it did start grassroots. It started with music. It started with art. You know, it was a renaissance. And that's where we're at right now again. Because they co-opted it and we let them co-opt. All those hippies turned into yuppies that just wanted material things.
Yeah. And one thing that is interesting, Norma knows so much about this than I do, is it's the age of Aquarius again.
Yes.
And Uranus, as far as I have learned,
it's the age of
the planet of chaos.
Oh shit.
Yep.
And upheaval and change and thinking differently.
Yes.
And it's been since then, isn't it right, Norma?
Yeah. Basically, yes.
And since the 60s. The age of Aquarius is probably when we first entered it. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Yes, no,
yeah, that's where
Aquarius
we're at. We're not at the dawning. We're
Aquarius. I'm sorry.
We're a little more into it.
Uranus is finally stationed direct.
But what happened is people they got paid off to stop pushing for that. They become fake, outrageous people that were like leading us and still trying to lead us in this direction, thinking we're doing something good, and we're actually doing something the opposite of it.
Right.
Climate change, the whole climate change thing right now. That's a perfect example.
Baloney. It's malarkey.
These people there's certain people, they call them stakeholders. It's called stakeholder capitalism, whatever. But they want to own nature. And they already own a lot of it. The governments own that, they call it public. But really, you have to pay to get on it. And
exactly.
Like it's pretty strict on these properties.
Oh yeah.
You can't just go be yourself somewhere in the middle of nowhere without anybody there. Just be yourself, because you can't hurt yourself. We're going to protect you from.
Yeah, we're going to protect
you. There used to be like all kinds of places. Say the poor, because I was very poor for a while. Could go practice their shooting skills.
Yep.
Okay. And because Utah's a big gun state. It really is.
Right.
And there used to be tons of places we could go. And now there's not anywhere. And then you got to pay and you got to go.
Yeah. Oh, there's one in Weaver Canyon. If you want to shoot, there's one up Weaver Canyon. It's go past, it's up by or just above. I can't remember where it is exactly. There's a Job Corps right there. It's right around there somewhere. There's a Weaver Canyon. And I think it's free. It was free last time I went.
That'd be cool.
It might be up the mountain a little bit. You have to look it up. Weaver County firing range. Driving range.
Yeah, and there is one a little closer to me. I think
for someone that's poor.
Well, it's never free when you go shooting because you have to pay for all those rounds.
That's hard, right?
Teresa, you need to take Christy shooting.
Yeah, that would be.
Show her how to use the gun. Show her the safety of it.
My husband's the best teacher.
There you go. Yes, I think she needs to experience it and realize it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to target shoot.
It is, but first you have to learn the safety.
You need to learn the safety. Yes.
So important.
And you know what? Safety is the first one. Always make sure your safety's on when you're not firing when you're not shooting your firearm.
Right.
Or discharging your firearm.
My husband will check the firearm to see if it's loaded and directly hand it to me.
Always.
And I always check it myself.
I would recommend that Christy and her boys, you guys should sign up for hunter safety.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great for them.
It'd be perfect.
Hunter safety would be good.
They give you 22s you can use too. That you don't have to bring in your own. At least you didn't used to. And they help target practice, but a lot of it's written, like half of it's shooting and half of it's learning the gun, learning how to clean it.
It is.
The other half is like book. It's like, memorization. You have to remember, you have to learn about carrying capacity and, gun safety and there's a lot of different things you learn. And I think I don't even know how long it was. Was it like a 2 or 3 week class?
I think so. It's pretty extensive.
It's been so long since I took that, but yeah, when I was a kid,
either you can gun-proof the gun or gun-proof the child.
Yeah.
And your child could go where there's guns.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if they're not in your house. And if they don't know about a firearm, then you haven't done anything.
Yeah, I think it's important. We all learn how to protect ourselves with a firearm and learn how to be safe with it.
And hunt.
Like not all of us, if we're deranged lunatics, no, we shouldn't have a gun. But
yes, right.
If you cannot bring yourself to an equilibrium in your own mind, you probably should not have a gun. I'm just saying that honestly and lovingly. Like if you cannot find an equilibrium, you probably should not have one.
Oh yeah, I've been shooting a lot. It was my dad and my grandpa that taught me, and then my stepdad taught me even more because we lived in Wellington. So in Wellington, all you got to do is just drive about 5 miles away. And you're into the wilderness, like you're out in the so they would. I remember we'd be sitting in the back. My dad or my stepdad had an extended cab, and I remember one time when this is when weed wasn't legal at all, and they had this little like a chew pouch or a chew can, and they must have had weed in it because they lit up a cigarette and it smelled like a skunk. Must have been some good stuff because it smelled like a skunk. I'm like, what is that smell, dude? That's nothing, but I just, I realized these guys, my stepdad and his buddy were smoking weed.
Oh, funny. Yeah, my dad was grown and I was little, and he told me they were pepper plants.
Yeah.
I believed him.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. That's why I think I started to feel bad. Like when I started looking through like my raising of my children, not that I think I'm a bad mom or anything, but when you do that self-reflection and you have to like take accountability for certain shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
I actually started feeling bad about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. It's those types of manipulations that really don't bring.
Really, when you start thinking about them, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to pick a time to gift you and give you whatever.
Right.
Like, this is a whole all that stuff. We talked about that before,
and we have. But like when I like realize and the things I fell for, certain shots that I let them get that when I look back on and actually finally did the research, went, oh my fucking God.
There was a time when me and both of her, when Obama first got in, that we were willing to like, no guns.
Yeah.
And then it was for a split second.
It was.
And then I started seeing like them acting out and doing bullshit. And I'm like, oh no, we need guns.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for not using them, but knowing we have them. So don't come to my house.
Yeah.
Well, you never know when, you're going to get stranded and you need to.
Right. And you're out there. There are really like bushwhackers and bandits out. Like, especially we go out to our own land. Like there's people that just steal from you. Like they'll just, because they know that there's not much law there, you have to be the law.
Yep.
And that means you just keep your shit straight and don't let anybody steal from you.
Right.
But, yeah, and right now, the closer to the border you get, the more dangerous it becomes. Those little old ladies wouldn't go out without a weapon. And
and for me, I grew up hunting, so that is very, very useful too. To be able to track an animal, to be able to clean an animal and process it right on site.
Yes.
Get it back. You're going to eat that meat. Your family feeds you feed your family for it.
Yeah.
So it's good for hunting and it's good for self-defense. They're good for both.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, see, and that's why I say really knowing what it is you're being activated, by, like, what is that passion really? Because see, my daughter right now, she's very much on this transgender shit.
She doesn't like it. Is what
she does not, and I get it.
Because they're trying to like totally they're trying to erase women.
Yes. And she not liking the fact that she's a girl, really disliking a lot of she's struggling with herself. And so it ultra upsets her right now. She's going,
how old is she, Norma?
No, she is 24.
Tracy Davis said they just did a gun recall. Where are you at, Tracy? You're in Australia, right? Yeah, Australia loves to do that shit.
But she is really, really triggered by this right now. Meaning, if she actually was like passionate about activism, this is where manipulation could take place, right? Because she is very, very upset about this. And for the right reasons, really, and ultimately. She doesn't like being a woman, but hello, I was fucking born a woman. You don't get to just come walk up in here and tell me you know what fucking cramps feel like, asshole.
And the only reason they can pass those laws, and they do in America, Tracy, she was saying that they just did a gun recall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only reason they can do that is because you give them up.
Yep.
Because you're afraid that I need to give them all to the government so I can be safe.
Right.
Don't ever trust the government. No.
I will go out shooting before they take my
right. No, you will kill me because I was defending myself, or you're gonna.
I would hate to have to kill anyone.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Ever.
That's not what you want to do.
No.
But
And I wouldn't. That's why I said
know
you
that's
use
my
it just
freedom.
for the whole thing. The gun can become just a deterrent,
right?
Like just having that gun can scare the shit out of people enough.
No,
and it most times will scare the shit out of people enough that they hightail it out of there and don't come back.
Right.
You know. And you know how in this state, a lot of people have a year's worth of food storage.
Yeah.
If you have a year's worth of food storage and we go through a shortage in food, if you don't have a firearm, you're not going to have that food.
Yeah, they'll be taking all that food from you.
Because they're hungry. They got to feed their kids.
It's that movie Zombieland 2. Remember Zombieland 2 when they were...
away from
I've never really seen those
it's really
kinds
funny.
of things.
I know.
Okay, can I go ahead?
I like...
What were you saying?
They're cool though.
So I'm shutting up.
I was just gonna tell them about it. So in Zombieland, let me hurry and finish this. In Zombieland, they're like, they got zombies chasing them. They got these really fast zombies chasing them, and they go to this like place out in the middle of the desert, I think, and it's a bunch of hippies, but they don't have any guns. And he's like, "You don't have any guns, and we've got millions of zombies coming." And really, like, no, man, they're dangerous. He's like, "Oh, we're in trouble." That's Woody Harrelson. But anyway, go ahead, honey.
Basically, okay, to end his thing, though, he was smart enough to leave certain ones out in the vehicle. He did not try to enter the combine. So he had a little something. And B, don't trust, like, oh my God.
And trust me, I'm more left than right. Like, I'm not Mr. Authoritarian. That's not who I am. That tends to be more the conservative side. Not anymore, though. Actually, the conservative side.
Not anymore.
They're starting to realize. But I am more left like than right. I just, because compassion and all. And right has compassion.
Forward momentum is always a good thing. However,
I grew up in both. My mom was more like left and my dad was more right. So I grew up with both of them. But anyway, and I don't play that game, that red and blue game.
Yeah, you just gotta follow what you think is
Which is why I was saying.
Yeah, gang stuff. I know Tracy Davis said gang stuff, but I get that. But you understand when they banned alcohol, just banning things makes it dangerous because you put it more on the black market. So now the black market can thrive and they don't give a shit about laws. The gangs are still going to have guns.
Yep.
I mean, look at Chicago. If you look at Chicago and you see how many people die from gunshots every day,
it's been so sad.
And that is, you know what? They have a no gun policy there.
Yep.
Notice in all the mass shootings are no gun zones. Schools,
of course.
And where do they always happen?
Why would you want to go?
All the no gun zones. That's where they happen.
Well, and there's a theory that it makes a lot of sense. That there's these companies that have mostly Israeli companies that have you already know that we have pre-predictive software, so we can just pre-crime people, right? We already have that software. It's called started as Promise software. Now it's something else. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe we'll get into that story about Promise software and the guy that Danny Casolaro that discovered a lot of this stuff and he ended up dead. This was back in the 80s, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he discovered he wrote a book, or he wrote his stories that he was doing. I think he was doing articles, was about the octopus of global control. So the octopus that reached everywhere across the globe.
I hate to say this, but really, ultimately, it's bloodlines. When you can trace back the money and you trace back certain things.
No, it's people that think they have a good bloodline. That's what it is.
No,
like they think
also
about
a problem. Yes.
No, we're not thinking about that.
But because they're willing to reach out to their third cousin because they're within bloodline.
Yeah, they reach out to their first cousin.
Right?
Yeah,
yes, they do try to keep it nice and close knit. You're right, babe. But what I'm saying is, we have to understand when we see someone and we think they're outside of that realm of things and they're doing so well, are they connected? They'll reach out to my 16th cousin twice removed because they're within this bloodline because they believe that shit.
Yep.
Yeah. True.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, actually taking things away. There's a very good argument for the more you add or the more you give, the more need there is for it. Sometimes, like the bigger you make a roadway or a highway, the more traffic you
traffic you end up getting.
Or the more you take away something, the more laws that you put in, the more people break them.
That's right.
it's the natural way of
nature.
Things. And when people try to ban shit, it's really
who are you?
Banning things is always leaves a black market for it. Right?
Oh yeah.
If there's a necessity for it, if it's a necessity, or it's something that's
and notice
practical, like a necessity, like a firearm.
Yep.
Why would we give up all the guns so the gangsters can keep doing the shit they're doing?
Right.
When we would at least have some protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
countries that have. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're okay.
It was most countries that have had their firearms taken away
have had their liberty
been conquered or taken into communism.
They've had the more they've had their liberties taken away.
Yes.
And you know what? It doesn't matter. Communism, capitalism,
exactly.
All of them do the same shit.
All the isms.
They all shit. Capitalism just breeds from monopolies, but so does communism.
Yep.
The monopolies are the strongest financial people. They get to control shit.
Who gives them the finance? Who says they have
So it doesn't matter which way. Like, it doesn't matter what system. We're under a system, many systems of like the people, the elite, the people that make the rules,
the elites,
that truly send down the rules and the orders. They don't give a shit what it is.
Right.
They're making money. They have control of it. So it doesn't matter to them what ism it is. And we can get, and that's all another thing you got to watch out for, is you watch out for a lot of these people throwing around communism all the time, or
trying to
capitalism all the time.
It's
label. Like, dude, every one of these sucks.
They're all fucking labels. They're all some
like, there's no free market capitalism anywhere. Like, if it was free market, like, we could all just be
free market would be no taxes for one.
Oh yeah,
right? Taxation is fucking theft. All I gotta say.
And I know roads, and I know that maintaining things, but look at our waterways. Look at our plumbing. Like, a lot of that stuff is so old, and they haven't replaced it. I mean, look at Flint. Flint, Michigan's still getting terrible water.
Right.
And a lot of us are.
And they got lead pipes.
Yeah.
Yep. And we know how those heavy metals now work.
Like, there's so many things going on. I think they're putting things in our water too in some places.
On purpose.
Well,
I know they are. They're putting fluoride in it, and that's a decalcifier. That calcifies our pineal gland.
Yeah, it sucks because, dude, my daughter was seriously had a prescription for fucking fluoride for her teeth, and because I was under that programming
too,
I gave it to her. Yeah, it sucks, dude.
I had no idea.
I know. Dude,
when they were little.
There are certain things that I dealt with in my life, and when I felt like, oh, you have this thing to deal with that now? Oh, yay. Dumb. And so I may never have natural born grandchildren.
I just dropped the link, y'all.
Right?
Anybody wants to join the conversation?
I have to deal with that fact because I did not do my research.
Yeah, come join us.
I didn't wake up beforehand. There may be certain consequences that happen to my family, and it sucks because most women, I don't care who you are, have that place in time where they want to be a mom.
Yeah.
And
usually
whether you choose in your mature mind to do or not to do is up to you. However, the fact that I may have, to avoid a certain embarrassment, injected something into my child that may never give him that option kind of upsets me.
They injected fluoride?
Well, no.
It was still something different.
I'm talking about the HPV.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fortunately, that wasn't around.
Let us not forget all the other bullshit that these big pharma companies have been doing to us in our lives.
So much.
Remember, Teresa, you remember thalidomide?
That sounds familiar. What was
a drug that they were giving pregnant women, and pregnant women were having defective children?
Oh, for nausea. It was for nausea. Yep. I do remember that. Yep. Fortunately, that was right before I had my children, so I didn't have to deal with that. So
right.
Fortunate.
No, but I remember these things, the Tuskegee experiment, where they ended up giving a bunch of black GIs in the army. They gave them a bunch of They gave him venereal diseases.
Yes.
Syphilis.
Oh, I remember. Yes. Oh, that was so cool.
And it was a double whammy. It was to demonize the black race to continue slavery, and B, let's see how far we can go with this.
Yeah, let's just
Do you
test them
think
like
they
mice.
could have given them AIDS at that time?
Oh, dude, they've been doing that forever.
They've been doing that too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've been doing that.
Fauci's been involved in two of the most major life-changing illnesses.
Yeah, one was AIDS. The first one was AIDS.
Yep.
In this lifetime.
He was in charge then too.
Yeah. Funny, huh? Because those medicines didn't work out well either.
Yeah, they ended up killing people.
Yeah.
But here we are.
I mean, you can even go in further and like, you know what? I'd start to think, you know what were these medicines they were giving them the symptoms?
Right.
And they were just blaming it on something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What I've come to see about the medicines, because the doctors have me on too much stuff. And okay, you'll take a medicine and it will help the problem you have, but then it will just give you another
more problems, right?
Then you need another medicine.
Yeah. Yes.
And then it just balloons and keeps going and going.
Yep.
And then
it becomes, it's just a business. Think about that. It's just that they're not out. There are some people that invent good drugs that actually do help, and those do get through.
Absolutely.
However, there's so many more that aren't very good for you at all. I mean, you can just watch commercials on drug commercials. Like you can hear all the symptoms you can get,
blood sugar, but you have to do with this.
You know, I mean, that right there, they're telling you in plain sight, but you're not listening. You're going, oh, well, it's okay. It's just liver damage or kidney damage or, you know, stroke. You know, no big deal. I'll just take this because I want to feel better.
Yeah.
So they get you in this fear state of, you know, okay, well, you got to take this. And
I don't know
trust
how to
me,
do this on my own.
don't believe all doctors are quacks. I think that there's some really good ones.
There are.
But I know there are.
Mine died.
Actually, it's taken me 50 years to find them. But
dude, I tell you what,
some good
when
ones.
I finally found my doctor, I had him for 5 years. And then some freak fucking accident.
Oh no.
On Lake Powell has to go happen. And guess who dies?
Bear Lake, Utah.
My doctor. And a couple of his children and
a couple of other people's children.
It was really sad and fucking goddamn it.
Anyway, where are you going with that?
That point is people are people. So even your doctor, who you think is amazing and great, can make some weird decisions, right? And I'm not saying he didn't in that moment make the best decision to stay with the little girls, but I lost my doctor to something he should have known how to deal with. Okay?
Not too bad.
But he was a great doctor. He was a human being. And in his human self, making a human decision, he lost his life. Now, if I have a doctor that knows every single best decision that never would have ever seen himself in that position in the first place, then I have not got the doctor I want. I want a human being. Yes, maybe can make some mistakes, but is listening to me and hearing what I have to say. And he did, dude. Okay. Here's the thing. I never knew that weed, if you're a breastfeeding mom, don't feel bad about smoking weed. It helps it keep going. I was leaking
the milk.
Years. I had colostrum for years until menopause finally fully hit. I had colostrum forever and I didn't get it. And I found it weird, right? So when I finally found my doctor and I trusted him, I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this? You
smoke too much weed.
He goes, well, do you smoke weed? You know, and many other doctors
that's true. It does
that are so like against that never would have even brought that up to me, right?
Right.
But so I'm going, oh my gosh. So I'm naturally keeping certain systems flowing with the marijuana I'm intaking. And you know, that's the whole thing. Knowing that this doctor, he wasn't necessarily for smoking weed, okay? He wasn't like promoting it or anything.
But he's just smart
enough. But he was open and smart enough to go, is this part of this element that I'm looking at?
No, like now? Christy was saying, my doctor said it was, you know, smoking wasn't a big deal while I was pregnant. With smoking weed, yeah, probably not. It's they already have the THC and the CBD in them.
Right. So it's within our own bodies. It really is. Yeah.
But even like for heart disease and heart problems, for high blood pressure, it's good to drink a dark red glass of wine. One glass of wine a night.
Yeah.
It helps thin your blood.
Right. That doesn't mean gallon, but like
No, it doesn't mean a whole bottle of Carlo Rossi.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's what my parents
But
used
really
to do.
getting an
Boxes
understanding
of
that,
them.
dude, alcohol-based medicines have been in our lives since the get-go.
Tequila kills bacteria in your stomach.
Yep.
That's not good for you.
Ooh, it's icky. Unless it's in a margarita.
Oh, you're kidding me. No, have you ever mix a 2 shots of tequila or a shot of tequila with
it's a funny one. It's not true, but it's like
2 shots or a shot of tequila,
I
maybe
haven't
2
done
shots
much.
depending on what you like, and squirt.
Yep.
The soda. It tastes just like a margarita.
Really?
Even with the salt, it tastes like it's salty too.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Paloma. They're really popular out here in California.
And I'm a tequila girl, so anyway.
Wine, whiskey, potato. Ha ha.
Do you drink it straight, Norman?
I do. I love it.
I love really?
It. Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's my drink. It's my drink.
For some reason, maybe I just had some cheap tequila.
Yeah.
There
are cheap tequilas that are not awesome.
There's one right now. It's called Salsa.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $11, but we are south, so we're closer to Mexico where they make it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $11 for a bottle, and it's good. It's really good. Now there's other ones that I really like, but they're way too expensive.
Yeah.
But I've been a tequila guy, and so since you. I was drinking tequila with my mom before that. Remember, I told you about.
Maybe you made me.
I told you about this. There's a one that I can't find anymore.
That's good.
It used to be like a blue bottle, and it looked like it was blown, like with glass blown, and it had little bubbles in the glass. And it had at the bottom of the bottle, it had a little cactus with a red sombrero on, like a glass piece.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool!
Yeah, it was really cool. It was called Porfidio.
See, for the longest time,
I don't think they make that bottle anymore, but it was like $60 a bottle.
Was my drink.
Oh wow!
That was 15 years ago.
So.
Yeah, it better be good for that much.
Compromise. Look at that.
All right, I'm gonna leave you for a minute.
All this time, I thought, oh my god, I made it a tequila man. I mean, I've heard these stories, but because with tequila, it does give me that uplift. It makes me feel good. I don't feel like I get out of control. They call alcohol spirit for a reason.
Fall off.
Well,
you know that song.
It does. My children has dedicated that song to me. I'm not going to say it. Don't make the clothes not fall off. But that's also about your awareness and where you're at. And I do try to, and I sit there and I sip on it, right? And when I get to that place where I'm feeling it, I'm starting to I can see it in my words. That's when you slow down more, right?
Right.
It's not one of those, now, if you're out partying and just guzzling some tequila, you're going to hate it. I've done that a time or two too. But a Dr. Pepper and a fucking nice sugary drink to clear me up, always good. But I've been in those places where I said, oh my God, never again. But I always went back because it was always that beautiful place as far as an out of control spot where you're fully in control. My spirit connects with the tequila spirit, right? So I can, though I get drunk, actually keep myself in check. I can check myself.
You can't.
Yes, I do. But
she likes to carry the conversation.
I can check it. I can say, okay, yes, what I'm doing, this is what I'm not doing. Where there are other alcohols that I've noticed that I can have even less, and I am total inner child mode. Nope. Everybody's feelings just connected to me, and now everyone's upset, so I'm upset, so everyone's upset, right?
Oh no. So it just makes you cry?
Yes.
Have you guys ever had mezcal or mezcal?
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
Similar to tequila, but it's what anybody would call the tequila with the worm in it.
Yes.
Okay, I've heard of the worm. I've never done the worm.
Don't want to do the worm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had it.
So have you eaten the worm?
Yes. I didn't chew on it, but I swallowed it.
I did not. Never. No, thank you.
Now they have mezcal. They have mezcal now that doesn't have the worm, but it has Damiana in it.
Okay, so what's that plant?
It's a psychedelic.
Cool. And you can get it in the States?
I haven't found it. The only person I know that's found it is somebody that lives in Florida. But Florida still sells absinthe, like the real absinthe.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Now educate me again on what all that had in it.
Okay, well, absinthe, if you've ever seen it, I've never had it, but I think it tastes like Jägermeister. But whatever it has wormwood in it. So wormwood is a psychedelic. It makes you have, that's why they call it you see the little green man when you drink absinthe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never had it. It's got,
but it's not dangerous then.
It's got Van Gogh on the front of the bottle on the label. And it's an old drink. It's a drink that's been around for a long time.
Ever since Prohibition.
Oh, even before that. Like we're talking about when actual what the hell's his name? I just said it. The artist Van Gogh was alive. He used to drink it too.
Wow. Okay.
So it's an old one, and
but it is safe.
I don't know. I mean, what alcohol is safe?
I mean, like, you know, there's the grain. I don't know if it's the grain alcohol or one of the alcohols that will kill you.
This one's got this one's not like, oh yeah, it'll make you blind and shit. No, it's none of that. It's none of that. This is it's like Jägermeister. Or they have another one in Utah that they make. It's similar to Jägermeister, same kind of alcohol. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Matter of fact, let's look it up. Hold on.
Okay, that's interesting. I am so naive.
I still feel like
about alcohol,
this stuff. And the reason they call it spirits is because you have to understand what this spirit, this alchemy, this area, where it's going to bring you. Just like any other medicine, right? Some people do great with just simple antibiotics. Others need more complex antibiotics, right? It's understanding what you're bringing into and incorporating into your life. That, you know, what spirits do you agree with? What spirits do you not? Where's your good place?
So absinthe, spelled or pronounced absinthe.
Yeah,
is an anise flavored spirit derived from several plants, including the flowers and leaves of Artemisia absinthium, grand wormwood, like I said, wormwood, together with the green anise, sweet fennel, and other medicinal culinary herbs. Historically described as a highly alcoholic spirit, 45 to 74% ABV. So that's, the percentage of alcohol. So it could be from 90 to 100. So it is pretty high. So you want to be careful with it.
He does not always love the
absinthe
fennel
has
alcohol.
a natural green color, but may also be colorless. It is commonly referred to in historical literature as La Fée Verte, the green fairy. Remember I was telling you the green man?
Fennel, really. Yeah.
It's sometimes mistakenly referred to as a liqueur, but is not traditionally bottled with added sugar. So is classified as a spirit. Absinthe is traditionally bottled at high level of alcohol by volume, but is normally diluted with water before being consumed. And it's like green. It's like a green, and they have a little stir spoon with it that you can, It's a really magical or mystical kind of thing.
It's very, very natural alcohol.
Remember when we were listening to the Alchemist?
Yes.
Remember when we watched that? That's what they were drinking so much that they started to get gangrene.
Oh,
they were drinking so much of it that they developed gangrene in their legs, and
and that could happen. And that's why I say, understanding the alcohol that you're like playing, no matter what spirit, the spirit of weed. Are you doing a whatever? Like, it doesn't matter what herb or spice or natural or unnatural, whatever it is you are intaking. It is understanding that spirit. What works for you, what don't work for you. Well, if this don't work for me, but it's within the natural environment, what do I need to do to eliminate that from my environment?
Jennifer Garcia says, I just use my government ID to get into the dispensary. I'm ready to pick up my prescription.
Dude, I have not renewed my ID yet. I'm over here going, fuck, I'm in California. I gotta go get my
I've got to get
well,
mine.
they have
over
them
here. I could go get my
don't know where the dispensaries are.
Yeah, there's not very
Dude,
many,
in Utah,
and they're expensive.
Utah
I would suggest not to go to the dispensaries. Find somebody that can get some really good stuff and sell it to you for a third of the price, because that's what'll happen.
Right.
Utah's really greedy with their Utah's really greedy with their
or if you can grow your own, because girl, like seriously, they are ripping you the fuck off in Utah.
Yeah.
They are fucking
bad. I know.
But if you have your card, you can grow your own. I can't remember how many, but you can grow.
No, I don't have a card. Can a regular doctor give you a card?
They want you every 6 months.
No, you have to go through the whole weed doctor thing. It's a scam.
It's
a scam.
It's bullshit. Do you remember when the law passed that it finally became medicinal, and then the Mormon Church went off and like rewrote everything? Like,
yes,
is that not a show, everybody? Like, what happens? Okay, the people said they want this, so we're gonna do it our way.
Yeah, there's a lot of weed stores in our city. There's a ton of dispensaries. There's actually 3 right together, about
oh my god, it's
a mile,
crazy, right?
maybe a mile and a half away.
So that's why I can't see dispensaries and things yet.
Yeah, you can look them up, and I think there's one in.
I
think there's one in
because
Layton.
the church has got control right now.
Yeah, they're only letting so much out. It's just like here in California. I just read this story or watched this story about the LA cops like stealing growers' money. Or no, it wasn't even LA. It was in the rural areas, right? Yeah. Or what? No, it was in California.
It was outside of LA County.
It was in San Diego.
It was in LA County though.
LA County.
Yeah.
And they were robbing these trucks that had all this money in them that were from the dispensaries, just basically seizing all their money, just basically stealing their money. Hijacking them, pulling over these armored trucks.
Rude.
Because when it's a federal law, we get to pick and choose when we're gonna fuck with you.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Wonder bar. I've never heard of a Wonder bar, but have you ever heard of a mushroom candy bar?
Yes, from you actually.
Yep, they have them. Some of them are called matrix bars. There's a lot of people that do it.
And let me tell you, look, y'all, if you're gonna do mushrooms in a space that you want to grow, be open, be heavy, because it can be heavy, but so light. Find your balance. And that's why I think that if microdosing were truly a thing, if we all were able to incorporate these natural things that are in our bodies that react certain ways, we would be so much further along than we are.
Have you guys ever heard of Wonder Bar? But have you ever heard of a Jeffrey?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Have you ever seen Get Him to the Greek with Russell Brand? He's in it. Well, a Jeffrey basically is a little bit of everything.
That's right. A little bit of everything.
Gosh. That's in everything.
It came from a movie. It was a comedy. It was pretty funny.
It was a comedy movie, and
the whole movie was about this kid that was like lower level in an A&R, worked for an A&R firm, which is an artist development firm, like basically agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're people that develop these new artists. Anyway, he was tasked to go get this rock star that's already, rock star. He's already way out of his mind anyway, and get him to a certain gig in LA from London. So the whole show is basically like this rock star is like just partying everywhere, getting him into trouble because he's trying to get him back to the United States. And it's funny, like the whole thing, he's trying to keep him from like completely melting down,
right?
From drugs or drinking or whatever.
But like, let's not do that.
It's funny. He's like trying to keep up with the rock star, and he really has a hard time.
I've seen it. It sounds kind of familiar now.
I'm sure you probably have. Yeah.
It's got Puff Daddy in it.
But anyway,
they
smoke the Jeffrey and they start going over the furry walls. Like these furry walls are awesome. They start rubbing these furry walls because they're just like walls with hair. I guess hair. I don't know.
They were the 80s carpets with the whole like really long shag.
I hated that stuff. It's so ugly.
That was what the walls were.
My parents had some bright orange.
Jennifer was right. Yeah, we've heard of Wonder Bars. Me and Norma shared one time, and I would suggest for me, if I were to do it again, we're gonna have to buy 2 bars because I want a full one.
And I don't.
And it even
You
says
want to
on
do
there,
the
on the back of the
heroic
mushroom.
jokes, huh?
Oh, I want to go for a ride. I mean, I'm
I
planning
think
on
that
going on vacation
mushrooms for me are a truth teller,
for at
and it
least
makes me feel
6
my
hours.
destiny. And I like that, but I dislike that, right? Like I am realizing in ways that I didn't realize before, where I have kind of negated myself. I'm saying, no, you can go off on the back burner. We don't deal with you right now. But with mushrooms, it makes it very heavy. And you realize, holy and
Since I
fully,
took one piece,
what you're dealing with. Wow, one
Oh
piece.
shit,
But
we took a
That
half
must
bar
be
and we were
sensitive.
killing.
well, yeah,
Well,
and that's just it. I think that Aaron has done very good. And he is so good with his foresight that he's able to heal certain things in moments.
Well, I understand those trips. Like I
Right.
understand how to get myself out of
And
like the bad trip, because
I
it's really just about
understand.
learning.
I
The bad
understand.
trip is because coming from your own mind.
Right. And I understand the
is.
trip, but I also have been disconnected from my human, right? Like I've dealt with certain things that I see that disconnection when I'm trying to connect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, going full out, full bar, no, I don't want to do that,
Well,
because
that's, you gotta make that
I need to take
choice.
the
You know
time
what's best for
to
you.
No,
exactly.
Norma always wants to go there because she always bitches about not being there every time we've done it. I'm not where you guys are. I don't feel what you guys feel.
Well, no, and that's true.
She took
No,
more.
but
Okay, we did one time. We did acid or LSD.
I wouldn't do
Years ago.
that. I wouldn't
And
try
she
it.
fucking took a half of. We all took like 2.5. She took 3.
They went way
She
faster
took
than
3,
me, and I know.
and still thought she
Yeah.
wasn't tripping.
And no, I mean, it
Wow.
was obviously, maybe, possibly
That's
because
3 blotter papers,
things
those
were
little square
happening.
papers.
I know, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I'm trying to say, though, is understanding your human, because my human to control, my human said, oh, everyone's going to go losing their mind in this, girl. And look, that wasn't the thought processes happening, but my diagnosis for why I was in that realm, but I was so much further. Like, I took way more than everybody. But when I started to see everyone falling off and going into la, it was like my logical mind, my masculine self took hold.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, look, there's some pretend and there's some real. Let's be grounded.
And if you ever, okay, for anybody who ever gets like, oh my God, I can't take mushrooms, they make me sick. A way to get around that
for my daughter. Yeah.
A way to get around that is crush them all up or put them in like a coffee grinder.
Oh my
put them in a cup.
This is the greatest way to do it.
Then get a few lemons and squeeze the lemons in there. Let them sit for about 20 minutes and drink and just shoot them. Just shoot the mushrooms. And what it does is the acidity in the lemon takes away a lot of it. Whatever, like if you ever see blue shit on your mushrooms when they're blue, where they're blue,
that's how
the
you
stuff
know.
that's the stuff that makes you sick. So that gets rid of that. And then you just and it hits you faster because you've ground it all up. So the high doesn't last as long, or the experience, I should say experience, and be more professional about it. But the experience it doesn't last as long, but it sends you to the moon right away.
Yeah, I'm just talking with Aaron and Norma.
Hey.
What's
up, Clark?
He says, what's up? He's sleeping.
Oh.
He just come down to check, make sure that all is well.
My lady's not here yet. I don't have the energy that I need to go to sleep fully.
He's so good. He's amazing.
He is. And understanding that, like really being able to, in our human, and that's, I think, the part that they're trying to strip away from us, is in this life. Hard, not hard, but they're trying to take away our experiences,
our open-mindedness.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Because when we're open-minded and we do things like this, if we do it more than once, or maybe we only have to do it once, we lose a lot of our fears because we realize, wow, we're creating a lot of this shit for ourselves. Like all this shit we're worrying about or thinking or, giving all our energy to thought on are really the things that we shouldn't be.
But yeah. Well, and I'm not sure where, my medical treatments of ketamine, I think it is considered
Yeah, that ketamine is definitely yes, that's a psychedelic.
Right. And so, I mean, there's been people they've told me that have stood up and saw spiders everywhere, and and I tell it, I make sure I kick them out, they pull the curtain, put my buds in so I'm listening to something really peaceful.
Yeah.
Center myself and ground myself.
Yeah.
Surround myself in protection of the love and light.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we're talking about psychedelics, Christy. Mushrooms
it
mostly.
works really good.
Well, see, here's the thing.
The ketamine gets rid of I think ketamine is supposed to get rid of your anxiety.
Okay, so ketamine
it can, yeah, but they're doing it
if
from
you know that you're
migraines.
taking it in, if you know for sure. Because for me, okay, so I'll admit, first time ever found myself in an apartment complex that should have been very easy to navigate, in a space that I should have been able to handle no problem, was completely disoriented, not understanding smoking, right? I smoked with these people, and I can't get out of this apartment now. What the fuck's happening?
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Yeah. The hell were they giving you?
It was very scary. It was very
Yeah, it's some angel dust or something. Shit.
I don't know. No,
Maybe
babe,
it was
right there.
late.
It was you I was trying to find. I was trying to just get right back out. No. I was upstairs. We were all upstairs for a minute. You already left to deal with something for a minute. I smoked something with these guys. I call them guys. I call everyone guys, girls too. Anyway.
Right, I do
Did you
too.
smoke it without me?
Well, you had left to deal with something.
And when was this? Where was this at?
This was years ago.
Where?
Remember when we were living with Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. That point in time.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he went down to go deal with something.
What's that shit called? The Salva?
Yes.
Oh my god, I felt like gravity was so
holy
we couldn't
shit.
move for a minute. It only lasted for a minute.
One.
That was weird. I only did that once.
What is that?
They actually were selling that
and they still do, I think, in some places.
They have different levels.
You have to take it bath salts?
No, it's not bath salts. No. It's actually like an herb from Africa.
But I don't know what it is actually, and they've stopped selling it.
It's called Salva.
So, but
interesting. I'm so naive.
It was very interesting. Anyway,
vegan old lady.
I'm gonna take this little hit of weed. I'm gonna go run down to my man, right? Like, so maybe I'm being a little bit like defiant, like in taking that last little hit, but I'm not thinking anything of it, right? Like, I'm gonna take that last little hit. I'm gonna run down to my man. But cool. I found myself lost in this little apartment building.
Oh, how awful!
For like 15 minutes. Like,
Norma finds herself lost a lot. So.
And I do.
That's kind of scary, though.
Myself, and I will talk to myself and walks and going, dude, you wanted to turn there. And I'll be like, no, we didn't. We're still over here. And my body's going, no, bitch, you wanted to turn there. Like, you wanted to say, I get it. Going. But you wanted to turn there. Right? So my mind-body-soul connection does get disoriented quite frequently, which is why I think that I can bond with so many people, why I can help so many, because I get that. It really is a conscious connection and understanding where you are when you're there. So when I find myself in these walks of just nonchalant walkingness, I realize I work best and I'm in my best mode in motion, right? However, I gotta find that motion that brings me the best good. Not just this person walking 10 blocks past where I should be, so that I can finally get the word that says, no, you wanted to turn way back there, right? That full connection. Not that connection that hears it but dismisses it because we're in this mode of space. It feels so good, but actually trusting ourselves and knowing ourselves. And if I turn when I said we should have turned, we're going to end up in the space and still be so.
Damn, Christy, you worked at DPCFS?
Yes, please.
Holy shit.
Oh, well.
All right, we got to wrap this one up.
Anyway, yeah.
But
I
hope everybody got something. I mean, hopefully you didn't get dumber from listening to it.
Right.
But we love you all.
Sorry, I apologize if I let him down.
You're good. Anything. No, you did great. That's why I opened up the lines.
You did amazing.
But this is a value for value show. So if you found value in this show, please find that link in the description. Go there. You can leave a donation if you'd like. We appreciate it.
If you have something you want us to look at and like pay attention
something you
to,
want us, like we're looking at the Giants for Anthony right now. I don't know if he's still around here, but anyway, we love you all.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
Have a good night, and tomorrow I'll see you tomorrow.
Well.
Teresa, we've got class tomorrow.
I love you.
Yes,
so much.
we will.
We'll talk to you soon.
Guys. Bye bye.
Love you too. Bye bye.